शुक्लाम्बरधरं विष्णुं शशिवर्णं चतुर्भुजं प्रसन्नवदनं ध्यायेत् सर्वविघ्नोपशान्तये सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। मनोबुद्ध्यहङ्कार चित्तानि नाहम् न च श्रोत्रजीवे न च घ्राणनेत्रे न च व्योमभूमिर्न तेजो न वायुः चिदानन्दरूपः शिवोऽहं शिवोऽहम् चिदानन्दरूपः शिवोऽहं शिवोऽहम् न च प्राणसंज्ञो न वै पञ्चवायुः न वा सप्तधातुर्न वा पञ्चकोशः न वा पाणिपादं न चोपस्थपायुः चिदानन्दरूपः शिवोऽहं शिवोऽहम् चिदानन्दरूपः शिवोऽहं शिवोऽहम् न मे द्वेषरागो न मे लोभमोहौ न मे वै मदो नैव मात्सर्यभावः न धर्मो न चर्तो न कामो न मोक्षः चिदानन्दरूपः शिवोऽहं शिवोऽहम् चिदानन्दरूपः शिवोऽहं शिवोऽहम् न पुण्यं न पापं न सौख्यं न दुःखं न मन्त्रो न तीर्थं न वेदा न यज्ञः अहं भोजनं नैव भोज्यं न भोक्ता चिदानन्दरूपः शिवोऽहं शिवोऽहम् चिदानन्दरूपः शिवोऽहं शिवोऽहम् न मृत्युर्न शङ्कः न मे जातिभेदः पिता नैव मे नैव माता न जन्म न बन्धुर्न मित्रं गुरुर्नैव शिष्यः चिदानन्दरूपः शिवोऽहं शिवोऽहम् चिदानन्दरूपः शिवोऽहं शिवोऽहम् अहं निर्विकल्पो निराकाररूपो विभूत्वा च सर्वत्र सर्वेन्द्रियाणाम् न च सङ्गतं नैव मुक्तिर्न मेयः चिदानन्दरूपः शिवोऽहं शिवोऽहम् चिदानन्दरूपः शिवोऽहं शिवोऽहम् चिदानन्दरूपः शिवोऽहम् शिवोऽहं चिदानन्दरूपः शिवोऽहं शिवोऽहं चिदानन्दरूपः शिवोऽहं शिवोऽहम्.
Good, thank you, Rama.
Thank you.
So this verse, this stotra, Atma Shatka, Nirvana Shatka, is key to understanding the Advaita philosophy. And in here, the 8-year-old boy, Shankara, when he approached his guru, he introduced himself this way that I am not the mind, I am not the body, I am not the sense organs, etc. And I am not anything part of the universe either. So what does it really mean? What does it mean to say that I am not any one of the components of the body that I am, but I am Chidananda Rupaha Shivoham Shivoham. I am this consciousness which is of the form of sensuality, sensuousness and ananda, bliss, Shivoham Shivoham, we can say as the existence. But to understand this, we have to understand a little introduction to this. I will, before going into these verses in detail, I will give a little introduction to what this really means. Here in the Advaita Vedanta, it describes Prakriti, that is the entire universe, and every inert object in the universe as an upadhi of Atma or Brahma. What is an upadhi? Upadhi like we can direct translation is a limiting adjunct. But what really is, what is it that it is really limiting? What is the this adjunct that we are talking about that limits what? That is, if we understand that, it makes a lot more easier for us to understand the Advaita philosophy itself. So we will look into an example. Now, we know that electricity can accomplish many, many things. Anything you want to accomplish, in the modern world, there is the electricity required for that, let us say. So it can accomplish many things. Even as it can accomplish many things, this light bulb can only make electricity, give light. It cannot make anything else. The light bulb is good only for giving light using the electricity. So the bulb limits the electricity to give light. Now, like that, if you take a fan, the fan can only make electricity, move air. It doesn't do anything else. We can take one more example. Take case of a space heater. The electricity can only make the space heater can make the electricity only heat the room. So this bulb is limiting the adjunct of electricity. This bulb is the limiting adjunct of electricity. That means it can make electricity do only a limited function. That's in that sense, the bulb is an upadhi of electricity because it limits the capacity of the electricity. We can use electricity for so many other things, to cool your refrigerator and air conditioning, cool the space. You can use electricity. You can use electricity to speak in your cell phone, to hear from your cell phone. All these are the so many possibilities with electricity. Yet this light bulb limits it to only throwing light. The fan limits it to only moving the air. and the space heater limits it to only heating the space. So these are limiting adjuncts of electricity. Bulb, fan, the space heater, or anything else you take that limits the use of electricity to a very specific narrow field. So that is what we call as a limiting adjunct. Though the electricity can produce so many effects, the objects that we have listed here, or any other object you can take, is limiting the capacity of the electricity to only do a certain thing. Like that, we look at this Atma also. The Atma is all pervading. It is consciousness, and still, if you look at this rock, the rock can only think of Atma as an inert object, nothing else. It makes the without the existence of the Atma, the rock cannot exist. That is the way we have to understand here. Without the existence of the Atma, the rock cannot exist, because something cannot come out of nothing. When in the creation process, if rock has to come, then there must be something before that. And if you say it is collected made out of dust, then this, for the dust also there should be something behind it. So the presence of the rock already assumes there is something else behind it. Yet this rock, if we take this Atma as the source of this rock, from the rock perspective, it limits the Atma to be an inert object. Or if you take an animal, the Atma appears as an animal in this case. The utility of the Atma is only limited to the characteristics of the cow here. Or you can take a human being. A human being can do a lot more things, but still the human being is limiting the capacity of the Atma itself. And therefore, we say that all these, the rock, the human beings, the animals, everything is a limiting adjunct of the Atma. In that, so it is a upadhi of the Atma. So the Atma is appearing to be limited by a rock, a cow, or a human being. The Atma is not really being limited, but there is an appearance here. Unlike the electricity, this is when you come to this case here, there is really not a limitation imposed on the Atma. It appears to us as if there's a limitation. That is what we have to understand with respect to the Atma. So how is this? How is this, like a rock or an animal or a human being? If Atma is so powerful, is so it has so much in it, how can a small entity like this emit, make it appear to be limited? That is what we need to understand, and we will say. So there is the this Atma. We before anything else, there is this Atma. Sarvagataha, Sarvashaktaha, Sarvajnaha. Sarvagataha means it is pervading everywhere, omnipresent. Sarvashaktaha, omnipotent, it can perform anything. And Sarvajnaha, it knows everything. So this Atma, which is omnipresent, omnipotent, and omniscient, appears to be limited by the objects of nature. That are some of the examples we saw. So this, take the case of just the human body. The human body is the most evolved body. Human being is the most evolved being. So we will take the example of the human being, and then that translates to others also. Now just see the physical body of the human being in an isolation, which is not really possible, but for the sake of argument, we will try to understand it that way. But for the sake of this exercise here, assume that this physical body is just like a dead body. Just assume like that. It is non-potent, insentient. Now, this physical body has to appear in a space that is covered by the Atma, because our Atma pervades everywhere. And wherever the human body exists, appears, that has to be in the space covered by the Atma. Therefore, Atma shares the space occupied by the, let's say, the physical body of the human being occupies the space that is already occupied by the Atma. So we see this example here, that this Atma which pervades everywhere, the human being is occupying the same space that the Atma is occupying. Because Atma pervades everywhere. Wherever you go, the Atma is there, and then that supports the human being that way, or any being for that matter. Now, this human being is alpagataha, alpashaktaha, alpagyaha. Here we said the Atma is sarvashakta, sarvagataha, sarvashaktaha, sarvagyaha. Atma knows everything. Human being knows only little. Alpagyaha. And a human being can only do little things, not a whole lot of things. So he is only alpashaktaha. He is and then, of course, human being can occur only in a limited space. Yeah, after all, if you take the footprint of a human being, it's a 2 by 2, or very heavy people, you can say 3 by 3 maximum. So this footprint of the human being is alpagata. It is only limited present. So we use the word here, limiti present, limiti potent, and limitiscient. This is not really in the English dictionary, but English dictionary does not reflect Vedanta philosophy. Therefore, they don't have a need for describing something like this, but we can use this word, limiti present, limiti potent, and limitiscient, as opposed to omnipresent, omnipotent, and omniscient. So the human being, how does he limit this Atma? This is the one thing that we need to understand. What happens is, there's what is called a mutual error, anyonya adhyasa. We will first explain this with respect to another example. If you throw an iron ball into fire, the fire is of the nature of heat. Iron ball is the form of the body, a shape, a form. So a shape or a form is coming in contact with heat there in that example. Now, when you throw the ball into the fire, the ball glows. You see the round glow in the fire. Now, that means that there is a form for the fire there. And another thing happens is the iron ball, which is not of the nature of heat, it gets the heat from the fire. So mutually, there is a, if you can say in that example, a mutual relationship between them, that the iron ball is becoming heated and the fire is becoming round. The fire doesn't have a round shape, round form, but in that example, the fire is becoming round and the iron ball is becoming hot, though their nature is not the same. The nature of the ball is not heat, the nature of the fire is not form. Still, there is a, because of that, those two things occupying the same place at the same time, then you see this mutual relationship there. And here we call that mutual relationship as adhyasa or error. The same situation here. The human being who is inert, the body, mind, everything being inert, the human being being inert, it occupies the same space as the Atma, which is consciousness. Now, the Atma gets to contract the characteristics of the human being, and the human being appears to contract the characteristics of the Atma. Now, the human being can become sentient. Then the Atma appears to conform to the shape of the human being. So this, how is this human body is limiting the Atma is like this, that the Atma gets a shape. we all appears to, we don't take it as a real, but appears to get the shape or the form of the human being, and the human being gets the nature of the Atma, that is sentiency. So the inert physical body now becomes sentient in contact with the Atma. So this is what we call the mutual error or the Anyonya Adhyasa. The Atma appears to act as a human being, and the human being gets the benefit of the sentiency of the Atma. So this is how this human body appears to limit the Atma to the uh, shape of the or the form of the human being. This is the limitation that the human being imposes on the Atma, appears to impose on the Atma, and therefore the human being is called an Upadhi of the Atma. Now, this is explained like this, that this, what we saw here, this Atma being taking the form of the human being, that we call, let us say here, Jivatma, the Jivatmahood. Now, this verse explains from the Vivek Chudamani, Swasya Drashtur Nirgunasya Kriyasya Pratyak Bodhananda Rupasya Buddhehe Bhrantya Prapto Jiva Bhavo Satyo Moha Apaye Nastya Vastu Swabhavat. This Atma, which is of, the knowledge, which of the nature of knowledge and this absolute, there's a superimposition of this buddhi of the individual on the Atma. That superimposition is called the jivahood of the Atma. The Atma appears to become a jiva, the witness, this Atma, which is a witness, which is beyond the proclivities, which is beyond the action. It says here, akriya, nirgunasya. That means it is free of proclivities or gunas, and it is beyond action. It doesn't perform any action, and is realized within us as knowledge and bliss absolute. This Atma is superimposed on this buddhi, the buddhi of the living being or the human being in this case, and that superimposition appears to give limitation to this Atma. It is not real. It has to be understood that this is an appearance. If it is real, then the jiva becomes real. That cannot be true. We will see later on why it cannot be true. But anyway, at this point, you understand this much, that this is there is a superimposition, and because it is by nature unreal, what is not real, what is unreal, the human, the jivahood being unreal, it ceases to exist when this delusion disappears. Right now, I am thinking I am this body, and I am this mind, and I am this intellect, and the intellect and this intellect superimposing on the Atma, it appears to give that limitation to the Atma. But if I don't consider myself to be this body, this mind, and this intellect, then that is the removal of the delusion. And when that happens, the limitedness of the Atma goes away. The appearance of a limitedness of the Atma will go away. And that's what it says here, Moha Apaye Nastya Vastu Swabhava. So because this human being is not by nature sentient, that at that point, when the delusion goes away, the full force of the Atma comes into view. And that's what we will see here, that this Jivatma, which is Alpagata, Alpashakta, Alpagna, appearing to be contracting some of the characteristics of the Atma, and this body is the Upadhi or the limiting adjunct of the Atma. Now, this delusion, when the delusion goes away, he becomes the Paramatma, Sarvagataha, Sarvashaktaha, Sarvagnaha. When I lose my, when I start thinking I am this body, the mind, when I stop thinking I am this body, the mind, etc., then I have vikasa, I have grown, and slowly and slowly I remove all the limitations that I impose on myself as the body, mind, and intellect. When that goes away in the mind, there is no more guna acting, karmas acting, etc. Then we get to the point of what is called the Ishvara or the Paramatma. So Sarvagataha, Sarvashaktaha, Sarvajnaha. This uh, uh, Jivatma gets the full benefit of being the that Atma, the Paramatma. That's what he has said here. Moha paye nastyavastu swabhavat. When the delusion goes away, here when the delusion of this limitness that I impose on myself goes away, I fully display myself as the Ishvara. That's the real thing. That is the being Sarvagata, Sarvashika, Sarva, that it is the real nature, that is the stable state, whereas this Jivatma is an unstable state. When this Jivatma gets over this limitation, then the Paramatmahood shows by itself completely, which is the real form. And the first 3 lines of the first 5 verses of this Atma Shatka that describes the various upadhis of the Atma and says, I am not any one of those limiting aspects of the Atma. But the 4th line says, I am the Paramatma. The limiting adjunct of the Atma belongs to the Jivatma, not the Paramatma. So when I pass from Jivatma, when that delusion goes away, I transfer myself from the Jivatma to Paramatma. And that is what this verse, this Atma Shatka, this Stotra is describing at every step. One thing is when the whole body itself is considered as an upadhi, limiting adjunct of the Atma, then now what to speak of the parts of the body, mind, sense organs, motor organs, etc., are all still even limiting furthermore. That is where Shankaracharya he describes the various aspects of the body, every step of the way, saying that I am not this because I am not limiting the Atma. Because I consider myself to be the Atma itself and not the body. When I get to that point, the Paramatma fully blossoms or shows in that person. That's what the verse will describe, and that's what will go one by one verse by verse on that. So this Nirvana Shatka is also called Atma Shatka or Nirvana Shatka. Shatka is 6 verses. So what is Nirvana? Atma, we have understood basically what Atma is. Nirvana is sheltered from air movement, physical meaning. The physical meaning is sheltered from air movement, like vata. Vata is air. Nirvana comes from that, having no air movement. So it is sheltered from air movement. And in reality, what it is changeless. It is peaceful, eternal bliss. So when there is no air movement, you know that there is peace. The example comes in the Bhagavad Gita, a lamp in a space where there is no air, it is steady. So that steadiness is referred to as changeless or peaceful. So this nirvana indicates the state of being changeless, peaceful, eternal bliss, whereas the jivatma is always changing. The mind is changing from moment to moment. The body is growing from year to year. So there is a constant change in the body, in the human body, from physical body to the subtle body, the sukshma sharira, and therefore there is no changelessness there. There is always change, and getting from that state to the changeless state is the nirvana, that you achieve that nirvana there. Everything in Prakriti is opposed to nirvana. If you take any aspect of Prakriti, it is opposed to this peaceful or eternal bliss. So Prakriti alone can be an upadhi to Atma. If the entire Prakriti is an upadhi to Atma, then that is called the Ishvara. the Paramatma or the Ishvara, in that case, he has so much power. The entire Prakriti is his Upadhi. And then that Parameshvara, the Ishvara that we speak of, is Atma or Brahma plus the Upadhi Prakriti. So Prakriti is a limitation on Atma. Even the entire universe that you speak, the physical universe that we think of, considering galaxies and galaxies and galaxies, this Prakriti is still a limitation on the Atma. Atma is even more Sarvagata, is more Sarvashakta and Sarvajna that way. So this Prakriti is still a limitation on Atma. Every aspect of human existence or life is associated with this Prakriti. If we look at what we do, we interact with other aspects of nature, and therefore the human existence is not possible without interaction with this Prakriti. And therefore, every step of the way, we are imposing a limitation on the Atma that we really are. By considering interaction with the Prakriti, or by having interaction with the Prakriti, we are limiting the Atma that we really are. So that limitation we have to overcome. And so these associations are negated by a realized person. A Mukta does not have this association with the Prakriti. He is just, even if he is in the physical body, in the human body, he is not associating with the Prakriti. He does not interact with the Prakriti. And that state is called the Paramatma. That state where we don't interact with the Paramatma, with this Prakriti, that state is Paramatma. And the associations are negated by a realized person. A realized person has graduated up to that level of totally disassociating from the Prakriti. That is what the Nirvana Shatka is describing to us here. So let's look at verse by verse. Mano buddhyahankara chitta ninaham nacha shrotra jihve nacha grana netre nacha vyoma bhumir na tejo na vayuhu chidananda rupaha shivoham shivoham. So first he talks about the aspect, the sukshma sharira that is in the human body. Mano, buddhi, ahankara, chitta. These are the four aspects of antakarana. This is what is called antakarana, an internal organ. And this antakarana is the one that that is responsible for all activities of the human body. So when he starts with that, when you start with that highest level of the human, if you want to call it the human anatomy or the human being, then if that itself he is not, because that is putting a limitation on the Atma, then I am not the mind, the intellect, the ego, or the collection of imprints. Chitta. Chitta is the collection of imprints that I have stored from life to life to life. So I am neither the, he starts with that, and then he comes one level down and says, I am neither the ears, the tongue, the nose, nor the eyes. Nacha shrotra jihve, nacha grihana netre. Now, these sense organs, ears, tongue, nose, eyes, they interact with space or fire, wind, etc. So he says those interactions are also not me. All those sense organs are not me. And then the sense organs interact with the sense objects. Even that I am not me. Then what am I? I am Chidananda Rupaha, Shivoham, Shivoham. I am that limitless Atma, which is always sentient, with consciousness, Ananda, that is bliss. Shiva, here I have used the word for the Shiva existence, because Satchit Ananda are the characteristics of the Atma, and the Chit and Ananda are already in here in this line. So Shivoham, it's okay to take it as existence. So existence means I existed yesterday, I existed today, I exist today, and I will exist tomorrow. So that continuity of existence, The body is not guaranteed of continuity, we know. The mind is not guaranteed of continuity, because last moment my mind was different, this moment it is different, next moment will be different. Therefore, that continuity does not occur with any of the sense organs, the internal organs or the sense organs. And therefore, he says, I don't belong to any one of these limiting adjuncts. I am only the Chidananda Rupa, Shivoham, Shivoham. So the most developed in a human being is the Buddhi, Ankara, and Chitta. So what does the Manas do? It gathers information from the sense organs, and it continuously, mind is continuously changing. It communicates with the Buddhi. It induces the prana into action. Buddhi makes determination. Chitta is constantly changing as new impressions are added. But we know that the Atma is a kriya. It doesn't engage in any action. It does not change. And here, induces prana into action itself is action described here. Therefore, buddhi in making a determination, there is an action involved. And therefore, I, the Atma, is not the manas, buddhi, ahankara, or chitta. So the Atma that I am is not the manas, buddhi, ahankara, and chitta, but the manas, buddhi, and ahankara and chitta are an upadhi of the atma, or a limiting adjunct of the atma. So in this case, see, I'm thinking, I say. So the mind is involved in thinking. So now this thinking is possible only because the atma is providing the sentiency to think. And therefore, in thinking process, I have reduced the atma to be a think machine. So you go to the next step, buddhi. Buddhi is making a determination with respect to something that it has got some data. It has to determine what it is. I see a dog. Now the buddhi has to determine that it is a dog. And so it is making the determination. And in making that determination, the buddhi is seeking the sentiency of the atma. And therefore, in that case, the buddhi has reduced the atma to be a determinating agent. So every step of the way, these are limiting the atma to a certain function, and that upadhi I am not, he is saying. Nacha shrotra jihve, nacha grana netre, nor the sense organs, ear, tongue, nose, and eyes. So again, these are functions that the ear, nose, tongue, and eyes carry out. And in interacting with the sense objects, that interaction is possible only because of the presence of the Atma. And in those particular instances, it is as if the Atma is doing it, because I am thinking I'm the Jiva. That Jivatma that I have induced, I have already imprinted a certain limitation, and that limitation flows all the way down to each and every organ of the body. And as it flows through every organ of the body, every step of the way, every action that I am taking appears to be a limitation on the Atma. And therefore, I am not any one of those. Nacha vyoma bhumihi, na tejo na vayuhu. So it is interacting with space, earth, fire, and air. What if space, earth, fire, and air is Atma? No, it is not, because he is saying they also are a limitation on the Atma, and therefore that is also, I am not the space, earth, fire, and air. Atma is detached, asanga. In the interaction process, there is an association. That association is contrary to Atma being asanga. Therefore, I am not the sense organs and the sense objects. Chidananda Rupaha. Shivoham, Shivoham. Nata prana sanyo navai pancha vayuhu, nava sapta dhatuhu, nava pancha koshaha, navakpani padam nachopastapayuhu, Siddhananda Rupaha, Shivoham, Shivoham. Let's give one more to the level of the pranas and other aspects of the body. I am neither the vital energy, prana is the vital energy, nor the pancha vayuhu, these vital energy that we draw from the Paramatma, from the and Prakriti. From the Prakriti, the five functional energies operate the body. Prana, Apana, Vyana, Udana, and Samana. We'll come to that a little in the next slide. So I'm not these either the vital energy or the breathing functions that keep the body action, that keep the body going. I'm not any one of those, because again, these are all limiting the Atma. I am not the seven constituents. There are sapta dhatu, there are seven constituents of the body. We'll get to the details. Nor the five sheaths of sentiency, and nor am I the speech, the hands, the feet, the genitals, nor the anus of the, I am of the nature of blissful consciousness. I am the existence, I am the existence, he says. So we'll try to understand what these seven constituents, the Panchavayus and those things in the next slide. So prana is this cosmic vital force or energy. This is an aspect of Prakriti. So Prakriti has this ability, Prakriti has the air in it, and the Prakriti has a certain ability to make this air work in a certain way, and that working in a certain way is the vital force or the vital energy, and every living being needs this vital energy for its sustenance. Though it needs it, but it is not the Atma. That is what is being described. So activates the individual body through the five functions. Prana is located in the face, enables breathing function, exhalation through the mouth, nose, eyes, and ears are all included in there. Apana is located in the anus and private organs. It functions to, through the breathing inhalation, and then driving out the waste products out of the body. And Vyana is located in the veins and arteries. There are said to be 72,000 veins and arteries according to Ayurveda. So retains the breath. See, this is very interesting here. This Vyana has the ability to keep the air in this body. He said somebody gave an example. If you have in your automobile, if you have one small hole in, you hit a nail or something, and then that one small hole will remove the air from the battery, whereas this human body is consisting of what is called a namadvaras. 9 openings are there in the body, and even with the 9 openings, there is air still circulating in the body. Is it not a wonder? Like that. So this is the function of the Vyana. It is located in the veins and arteries. Then Udana is located along the Sushumna. It is located somewhere near the neck area. So functions to induce sleep and passage to the next birth. So it has 2 functions. When we get tired, it is this Udana Vayu which controls the oxygen flow into the body, and reduces the oxygen flow, and that's what induces sleep. And ultimately, when I am ready to leave this body at the time of death, it is the Udana that takes the Sukshma Sharira from the body to the atmosphere. So that is the what is called the Udana, passage to the next birth. It means that it takes away the Sukshma Sharira from this body and takes it to another body. And Samana Vayu is located in the navel. Its function is to distribute the digested food and fluids to the entire body. It's like acts like a pump. The food is digested, and then all those digested the essence of the food is being distributed to the entire body. So these are the 5 pranas. Now he says, I'm not the 5 pranas, means it's prana, apana, vyana, udana, and samana. Nava sapta dhatuhu, nava panchakoshaha. He says, what are the sapta dhatuhu? 7 components of the gross body. Rasa dhatu is the body fluids. Rakta dhatu is the blood. Mamsa dhatu, the rasa dhatu is other fluids other than blood. Mamsa dhatu is muscular tissue. Meda dhatu is fat tissue. Asti dhatu is bony tissue, making the bones. Majja dhatu is bone marrow and nerve tissues. Shukra dhatu is generative tissues. It includes the male and the female reproductive components. So this is all product of prarabdha. This saptadhatu and panchakosha, the prarabdha that I take to make this take this life. That prarabdha gives me a body, and it can be a human body or it can be an animal body. If it's a human body, I could have, like good respiration. I could have good, sugar distribution in the body, or all those that we medically we see. All those are product of prarabdha, and therefore, if I'm having an issue with my breathing, then I have pulmonary issues. That is also product of prarabdha, that I'm supposed to lead that life in that suffering, because I have earned that suffering from some of my actions in my past life. So Sapta Dhatu and Panchakosha, these are parts of, these are due to the prarabdha. We will try to discuss the Panchakosha now. Panchakosha is, there are 5 functional sheaths. Kosha physically means sheath. I mean, literally means sheath, like, a sword in a gabard. I'm sorry, scabbard. You put the sword into that case scabbard. So that is what is being described as a sheath. That is a physical sheath, whereas here this is a functional sheath. This is not a physical sheath. This is a functional sheath. Annamaya kosha is the food layer. Pranamaya kosha is the energy layer. Manomaya kosha is the mind layer. Vijnanamaya kosha is the knowledge layer, and Anandamaya kosha is experience bliss or happiness. It's called the bliss layer. So this dhatu and kosha are general, are inert and cannot be atma. That's what he says. Nama sapta dhatuhu, nama pancha kosha. Now vak pani padam nacha upastha vayu, and organs of action. Vak, pani and pada, these are all speech, hands and legs. These are all, and the upastha and the payu, they are the lower organs of action. And these are again inert, and they cannot be atma chidananda rupaha. Now this will try to understand this kosha a little more, because it comes later on in Ramagita also. We'll look at this. See, this picture we have seen. We have seen in Bhagavad Gita class somewhere. Most of you should have seen this. Anyway, this is the Stula Sharira, or the Annamaya Kosha, the gross body. This is the Annamaya Kosha. Now, in this body, the 5 sense organs, they capture 5 sense objects, and all that. What we see here is only the external openings, but there is a processing in the mind, and all of them that together makes the sense organs, or the linga sharira, sukshma sharira also. Then we have this mind, then the intellect and the storage, and there is an ahankara also. We'll come to that. Then these are the 5 pranas that we discussed. Prana is in the face, apana is in the lower level, samana is in the navel area that distributes the food to the entire body. Vyana is the, what did we say? Vyana was, is the, I think, it is located, that's the one that distributes the breath to, retains the breath in all the nerves and the arteries. And then the Udana is the one that regulates sleep, or it takes the Sukshma Sharira out of the body. Now, I will define the 5 layers using this picture. it goes like this. This, of course, there is nothing to this. This is the physical body or the food layer, Annamaya Kosha. Now, the Pranamaya Kosha consists of all these, the 5 motor organs, the legs, the hands, the speech, and the other 2 organs. So this entire thing is the Pranamaya Kosha, 5 pranas. And then you have the Manomaya Kosha. The Manomaya Kosha includes the mind, and it includes the sense organs also. The sense organs, the 5 sense organs, the mechanism that happens in there to convert the information to a form that the mind can accept. That's what happens here. So that is Manomaya Kosha. And then this intellect and the storage, along with the mind, along with the sense organs serve both the mind as well as the intellect. So this becomes the Vijnanamaya Kosha, these 3 entities. And then the Anandamaya Kosha, we cannot describe. It's only an experience happening in the intellect. Therefore, we cannot describe that. So these are the 5 functional layers that that help the body keep its functions. So they are, I am none of those. He disowns all those Panchavayu, Panchakosha, Saptadhatu, all those things are negated as not being Atma. I am the Atma. I have nothing to do with them. The fourth word, the third verse describes Name Dvesha Ragau, Name Loba Mohau, Mado Naiva Me Naiva Matsarya Bhava, Na Dharmo, Na Charto, Na Kamo, Na Moksha, Chidananda Rupaha, Shivoham, Shivoham. Now, as you interact with the Prakriti, as the Jiva interacts with the Prakriti, these are the reactions that happen in the body. In the Dvesha, like or dislike, Dvesha Raga, I don't have attachment to so and so, where I don't hate so and so. Name Loba Moha, I don't have greed, I have no delusion, I'm not delusion, I have no delusion, I have no moha. Mado Naiva Me Naiva Matsarya Bhavaha, even as I interact in this Prakriti, I have no pride, I have no jealousy. If you have pride or jealousy, you're a Jivatma. And this is the, if I have likes or dislikes, I'm a Jivatma because I'm limiting myself to that Jivatma food. I have no obligatory duty, na dharmo, na charto, na kamo, na moksha. Now, I have no obligatory duty, seek neither wealth, desire, nor liberation. One by one, dharma. Dharma is necessary only if you are functioning in the society. For the welfare of the other people, we have certain obligatory duties so that we don't step on somebody else's rights. That is what dharma is about. Like automobile, if you are the only car in the street, there is no restriction, there is no road rules to follow. If you have your own, like your driveway, in your driveway, if you have a wide driveway, and you are the only one in that driveway, you can drive on the left side or the right side, it doesn't matter. So the dharma comes into picture only when you are engaging in society. Same like artha, seeking wealth, that is also like when you engage in a society. Na kamo na moksha, kama we can understand, no desire, only if you are interacting with the Prakriti, then there is desire. I like this, I don't like this. But when I am not interacting with the Prakriti, there is no kama. No moksha, if you are already liberated, where is the question of liberation? Well, moksha happens if I am really already attained to the state of Atma, there is no moksha for me. Chidananda Rupaha, Shivoham, Shivoham. So it describes this quality of mind and denies them as the Atma because the mind is not the Atma. Hate and attachment, greed and delusion, Chetana, a bit of sentience enjoyed by the mind, appears as real, but it is not. And 4 Purusharthas, goals of life, Dharma, Artha, Kama, and Moksha. So these are all values associated with the Jiva, not with the Atma. So Jiva has Kartrutva and Bhoktrutva. Atma does not have. So the Kartrutva and Bhoktrutva comes because of being in the society, dharma, if I am being attached to dharma, artha, kama. If that you don't have, then you are the atma. So jiva has kartrutva and bhoktrutva. Moksha is a goal for the bonded, not for the liberated. Those who are interacting with the prakriti, for them the moksha makes sense. One who is totally disassociated from prakriti, there is no question of moksha because atma is already liberated. Chidananda rupaha, shivoham, shivoham. Na punyam, na papam, na saukyam, na dukkam, na mantro, na tirtham, na veda, na yajnaha, aham bhojanam naiva bhojyam na bhokta, chidananda rupaha, shivoham, shivoham. So, this what this verse generally describes is the outcome of the interaction with the Prakriti. When we interact with the Prakriti, we do some good things, we do some not so good things, and that accrues what is called punya and papa. And when we get punya and papa to be experienced, then there is sukha and dukkha. So then na punyam na papam na saukyam na dukkam. And then in order to associate with this prakriti, na mantro na tirtham na veda na yajna, you have to do all these. You have to learn the Vedas, you have to do the yajnas, you have to go pilgrimage, tirtha, na mantro, in all these places where you go, you utter some mantras. But I am not interacting with Prakriti, therefore na mantro, na tirtho, tirtham, na veda, na yajna. And then aham bhojanam naiva bhojyam na bhokta. So I am, if I'm a part of the Prakriti, I become something to be experienced. Or if I'm part of the Prakriti, I have to eat something, I have to experience something. So neither I am experiencing, nor I'm experienced by somebody else. That's what he says. I'm neither the experience nor the experience itself. So I am of the nature of the blissful consciousness, Chidananda Rupaha. So this describes the effects of those interactions with the Prakriti for the Jiva and their products. So the good deeds result in punyam and bad deeds result in papam. Punya begets sukha, happiness, and the papa begets dukkha. Now the question comes, why do people do bad deeds? I didn't ask this question. अतकेन प्रयुक्तोऽयं पापं चरति पुरुषः अनिच्छन्नपि वार्ष्णेय बलादिव नियोजितः. In the third chapter, he asked Krishna, why do people do bad things as if forced to do the bad things? Nobody gets up in the morning and says, I'm going to do 20 bad things today. That is not anybody's sankalpa. But still we do bad things. Why? Kama yesha, krodha yesha. Because we desire and anger. These are all aspects of, or the expressions of, the rajas guna we have, and therefore people do bad deeds because of the desire and anger. This drives people to do bad things. So mantra, tirtha, veda, and yajna are for the jiva to attain the moksha. So these enhance our desire to worship, mantra, tirtha, veda, and yajna. And the pancha yajnas we can undertake for the chitta shuddhi, and that is deva yajna, pitri yajna, rishi yajna, then veda, rishi, bhuta yajna, and societal yajna. And so these five various, these are all again interactions in society, and do it with a good mind, and then get some good outcome out of that. So those are the panchayagnas. For the once you do in a spirit of helping people, then this enhances our mind, and therefore we are driven to do good things and ultimately get to moksha. Bhojana, bhojya, and bhokta. See, this is for what is called a triputi. When there is two, then all the three comes into existence. Bhojana is let me take bhokta is the one who experiences. Bhojya is what is being experienced, and bhojana is the process of experiencing. If you take food, bhokta is one who eats, Bhojya is what you eat, vegetables, fruits, and things like that. Bhojana is the process of eating. So only when you see there is me and food as two different things, these three comes into existence. The one who is eating, the one who, which is eaten, and the process of eating. But so this is what is called a triputi. Whenever there is two, there is a triputi. And when you are Atma, there is only one, the triputi disappears. Triputi is in multiplicity. When Atma alone exists, there is no triputi. If the Bhokta is the Atma alone, then Bhojya and Bhojana even doesn't come into picture because there is only one entity. So Atma is detached, no interaction with Prakriti. Chidananda Rupaha. Now, the last verse of the first series, na mrityur na shankha na me jati vedaha pita naiva me naiva mata na janma na bandhur na mitram gurur naiva shishyaha chidananda rupaha shivoham shivoham. So he says, I have no desire for fear of death when I'm at the Atma, enjoying the bliss. The body association is not there. The death is only for the body, and therefore there is no fear of death. And birth, again, birth is for the body, not for the Atma. Atma is ever Sanatana, it ever exists. So the no birth distinction for the one who is the Atma, who operates at the Atma level. I have no father, no mother, for I was never born. Only body is born, and at the Atma level, Atma, there is no father or no mother. You get the body from the parents to work out the karma, and when you transcend the body level, then there is no birth to the Atma. I am neither a relative nor a friend. Na bandhuhu na mitraha, guru naima shishya. There is no guru teacher. There is no guru or shishya, teacher or the student. There is no distinction in the Atma level. Chidananda Rupaha, Shivoham, Shivoham. So Mrityu is for the physical body. In ordinary sense, that is true. But in Vedanta, some people, some scholars describe that not being realized itself is death. According to this definition, all of us are already in the death. Birth is for the body given by the parents according to the prarabdha karma. Atma is beyond birth and death. So when there is only one non-dual, when you are at the Atma level, where is the question of Guru and Shishya? In fact, this question comes quite often in Vedanta. How could Krishna teach Arjuna if Krishna is, in the Atma, is operating at the Atma level? Now, the answer that comes back is out of compassion for other people, these people who have been at the Atma level, they come down one step and accept some gunas, and for a temporarily, since they have already mastered the staying in Atma, they can come in and go out of the guna level. And then, therefore, they, out of compassion for the students, the guru, this realized person takes the form of a guru and teaches the guru. Otherwise, this whole Vedanta is meaningless because you are teaching all these things, but once you get to that point, how can you lead other people? So this is very important to understand here that those people who have realized they can make temporary adjustments to help other people out of compassion. So this teacher relationship, teacher-disciple relationship generally does not exist, but they do take that role as a service to the mankind. So Chidananda Rupa, I'm none of these things, so I am the Atma in full of this. Aham nirvikalpo nirakar rupo vibhutvacha sarvatra sarvendriyanam nacha sangatam naiva muktir nameyaha chidananda rupaha shivoham shivoham. So nirvikalpa, I am changeless. I'm Nirakar Rupo, I'm formless. I pervade everywhere. Vibhutvancha sarvatra. I go, I pervade everywhere. And this Vibhu, the Vishnu comes from that word Vibhu, pervading everywhere. Sarvendriyana, he pervades not only the everywhere, but pervades all the sense organs. And Nacha Asangatam. Asangatam, I am neither attached, neither free, nor can be known. Meyaha means to be known, not to be known, not can be known from the sense organs. It has to be, I have to be experienced. The Atma has to be experienced. It cannot be an object of sense organs. Chidananda Rupaha Shivoham Shivoham. So, of the nature of blissful consciousness, I am the existence. I am the existence. So, this was the introduction that Shankaracharya he gave to his guru, and this describes the nature of Atma and the nature of Prakriti. This is very important in the study of Advaita, and which we are going to do in Ramagita. And so, for this purpose, I chose this Atma Shatka as our lead in prayer every day, so that we are reminded of the uh, two entities, Prakriti and Purusha. I am the Purusha, I am not the Prakriti. I have no association with the Prakriti. That is the state of mukti. That's the state of moksha. So now the question comes with that answer here is Advaita. Some people seem to think that the Advaita claims the universe is false. Is the universe false? Advaita does not claim that at all. It does not claim that the universe is false, but what it claims is Brahma alone exists. Seeing Brahma as universe is negated. You know, in the sense, see, if the universe is looked at different from Brahma, that is false. That is what Advaita says. The universe itself appears as Brahma, the Brahma itself appears as universe to the unrealized, just like the snake appears, a snake appearance to the deluded when the rope is there. See, if the rope itself is not there, there's no question of even seeing the snake in a certain light. But since the rope is there, the snake is seen. The universe is seen only because Brahma is there. Brahma alone exists, and just like in under subdued light or the lighting conditions during the Sandhya Kala, that light, he could not see the object correctly. It was not. See, if it was pitch dark or if it was broad daylight, he would see the snake. He would see the rope if it was full daylight, or he would not see anything if it was pitch dark. Only because of the bad lighting during the transition time that he saw something and he thought it was a snake, but really it was a rope. So the appearance of Brahma as universe is due to that delusion, that ignorance. The ignorance, how the bad light presents this rope as a snake. Likewise, the delusion or ignorance presents the Brahma as universe. To the deluded, universe is there. Now, if you say the universe is standing alone, that is what Advaita deny. That Advaita does not accept that. Advaita claims that universe is not false if you think of it as a superimposition on Brahma. If it is thought of different from Brahma, Advaita negates that. So the appearance of Brahma as universe is due to delusion. Brahma alone exists, and the universe is a superimposition on the Brahma. But what Advaita states. So seeing duality is what Advaita claims. Not seeing duality is what we should accept. The duality is between the Brahma and the universe. So if you say you see only the universe, Advaita denies that. Same thing with Atma. Atma alone exists. Seeing Atma as Jiva is negated. So the Atma, this Jiva is an appearance. The appearance of Atma as Jiva is due to delusion. Atma alone exists, and the Jivahood is not permanent. Jivahood is temporary, and accepting this Jivahood is temporary. Like we can transact in the society and ultimately see the Atma. So when the delusion is overcome, I alone remain. Whether you call me Brahma or Atma, it doesn't matter. When I alone is there, I have no need for any kind of identification. So I am Chidananda Rupa, Shivoham, Shivoham. So this is the introduction to this is the description of the Nirvana Kshetrika as an introduction to the Ramagita study. What we will do in the next class is to further get the Advaita correctly. We will do a simple analysis of Dvaita, Advaita, and Vishishta Advaita. We'll do a study of them in some simple terminology and understand where Advaita differs from Vishishta Advaita and Dvaita, and then we will move on to Ramagita. Let me stop here. Okay, that was a lot of material. If you really understood it, I'm sure you have got quite a bit of it. If you have any questions, please raise your hand, because it's very important we understand these concepts, basic concepts, before we really get to the topic of Ramagita.
I have a question.
Sure.
See, Shivoham is the translation is I am the eternal Shiva, right? I am the
Shiva existence. Shiva exists all the time.
Right. And then you're using the word I am the existence. Salpa, that's confusing me. I am Shiva.
Okay. Shiva is, you should not take it as Lord Shiva.
Oh, okay.
Because in Advaita, when you come to Advaita, if you say Lord Shiva and I as two different.
Okay.
What is Atma? Sat, Chit, Ananda. Chit and Ananda are already referred to there in that line. Right? Chidananda Rupaha. Chidananda Rupaha. And Shiva is the only word that is not described in the Satchit Ananda. And so we equate that Shiva to Sat. You can say auspiciousness. There is no problem with that. I am auspiciousness. Auspiciousness, again, we will have to give one more explanation what that auspiciousness is. Finally, we will come to existence. What is existence? It is not there. It was there yesterday. It is here today. It is there tomorrow. If I come to this world as a body, and after some years I am no more, I'm not existence. The definition of existence is Trikala Abadita, not negated in the three time frames, past, present, and future. Anything that is present in past, present, and future is real, is existence. In that sense, it is existence.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ramakrishna.
Okay, all right. If there are no questions, Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinaha, Sarve Santu Niramayaha, Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu, Ma Kaschid Dukkha Bhavet. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Is Srinath there? No, okay.
ಇದು ಒಂದು ಹೇಳ
ಹೇಳು.
ರಾಮಚಂದ್ರ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ರಮಾ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ. ನಿಮ್ಮಿಂದ ನಮ್ಗೆ ತುಂಬಾ ಸಹಾಯ ಆಯ್ತು. ನೀವು ಈ ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ಗಳೆಲ್ಲ ತಗೊಂಡು ಪ್ರಾಣಾಯಾಮ ಎಲ್ಲ ಮಾಡಿ ನಮಗೆ ತುಂಬಾ ಇದು ಮಾಡಿಕೊಟ್ರಿ. ನಿಮ್ಮ ಪ್ರಯಾಣ ಸುಖಕರವಾಗ್ಲಿ. ನಾವು ಬೆಂಗಳೂರಿಗೆ ಬಂದಾಗ ಖಂಡಿತ ನಿಮ್ಮನ್ನು
Now we will call you. What is a good time to talk to you? We call tomorrow or day after.
Anytime convenient.